Take me home tonight. Listen, honey, just like Ronnie said. Just like Ronnie said.
All right, guys. Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Unofficial Official Podcast from Straightener Chaser. We are back. We are back from an extended vacation. We took a little bit of a break. And as always, I am Mike here with Segi. And for those of you who always listen, you know that it's usually Segi and Tyler. But today we have a special guest host who's going to sit in with us, Luke Bob Robinson. What's up, guys? How we doing today?
Chilling, bro. How you doing, Bob?
Good. I'm well. Mike, nice haircut.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I decided that it was time to shape up the old dome. It's been a while. I find that unless I have an event or something to go to, I just kind of let it
Same.
go.
Same,
Right.
same.
And the other day I was like, all right, maybe it's time to just, shape this up a little bit. I did that though because we do have a couple shows this weekend and we're going to shoot some videos and some content. So I thought it was only responsible of me to at least try to look somewhat sort of kept up.
Yeah. Also, people love to make comments to you about your
I
hair
know.
length. They're like, I don't like the long hair. So if you have long hair in the video,
Yeah.
because we're shooting a video, if you have long hair in the video, I'm not going to sit next to you in the signing line this fall because that's all we're going to hear. I don't like
Yeah.
your long hair. Okay,
Right.
person, get out of here. We don't like your hair.
And I just want to say, I do appreciate everyone's opinion and their right to have an opinion. I may not always agree with it, but I appreciate, the back and forth.
But it
But
also
I don't know if
doesn't need to be
yeah.
shared.
True.
You know what I mean? You can hate the hair. That's great. You don't have to tell me. It doesn't make me feel good when you're like, oh, Mike, I hate your long hair. I mean, I'll stop texting you that if you want, but like the fans should also stop.
Luke Bob, has that ever happened to you in line? Has anyone like ever said anything to you like, hey man, I wish this or I wish that or I like you
Probably
more
just
like this or
Jasper.
that?
No, I mean, people have said a few weird things to me, but never, I don't think I've been in it long enough for them to get a baseline for where my hair is going to be. But I will be getting a haircut tonight because we do have those shows
Yeah.
this weekend, and I need to get a little cleaned up on the edges.
I
To
like
be
your hair
fair,
long, man. It's
yeah, it looks fine. It doesn't
it's
look
nice.
like unkempt or shaggy. To be fair though, Mike's hair is the only hair that like really fluctuates
Mm,
because sometimes Mike's I
True.
want to be long hair Mike, you know what I mean? And
sure.
sometimes I want to be short hair Mike.
I'm still
So
searching for myself.
yeah, good luck. I don't know. I think that's probably why, because you're the only person whose hair fluctuates. I grew mine
Sure.
out during COVID
Mm,
and it was really long when we did the live streams.
yeah.
I hated every second of it. But Jamie was like, grow it out. I want to see it long. And I was like, I'm not going anywhere. It's COVID. So,
Yeah.
like you, I get my hair cut before events and tours.
Sure.
And so I was like, we're not going anywhere doing anything, whatever. I'll just grow it out. And
Yeah.
I grew it down to like here.
Oh my gosh.
I
Yeah, it
liked
was,
it.
I
I
didn't
liked
like
it
it at
actually.
all.
I was like, all
I
right, let's
got
go,
I got a
Seg.
lot of compliments on it, but I hate so I have eczema, right? So I'm always itchy, like head to toe, 24 hours a day. And I also run really hot. So like adding all that hair like just made me feel hotter and itchier all the time. And I was like, this is not ideal. So
Right.
I cut it off.
So Luke Bob, you just mentioned that you haven't heard as much stuff like that since you've only been in the group for not as long. But I will say this, I feel like it's been a year plus now. And I do
Yeah.
want to mention right after we started the podcast, I think we might have done one or two episodes, and then we had you on as a guest for the first time. And I think it's really cool that now you're the first guest host.
I'm honored to be the first guest host in the unofficial official podcast Halls of History. It's a great honor,
Those
truly,
are some long
truly.
hauls too, huh? A
That,
whole, like a whole 35 episodes, a whole year. So
yep.
yeah, it's great, man.
I think we've taken longer hiatuses than we have been around. So if we could get that figured out.
I mean, it's kind of natural. I think after the tour, we ended in Atlantic City, and then there's a couple weeks at home to finish the record. And
Yeah, the album kind of threw a wrench into
I think it,
things.
yeah, But I think now moving ahead into the shows this weekend, and then as we're ramping up here to get ready for the holiday road tour, I think we'll be more regular. And then obviously once we're on the road, we'll have a weekly pod and we'll do updates of the shows and all that stuff. But I did want to ask you guys how you think the summer tour went and how you think Atlantic City went and just the whole idea of the summer tour. It was longer this year. I don't know, I feel like we hit a bunch of cities that we hadn't, but there was a couple that we hadn't hit there in the past. And yeah, just wanted to ask you guys just your overall just kind of feeling how the tour went now that you've had a couple weeks at home to kind of, I don't know, sort of decompress and stuff.
Go ahead, LB.
It's hard sometimes for me to take a
So I
big
think the
pic-
summer tour was. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
It's hard for me to take a big picture view of the tours sometimes because I'm so still just thinking about how my performance went. But now that we've
Sounds like you.
had, but now that we've had a few weeks, I think it went great. I was so stoked with how the music sounded. I think all the songs really hit, and I think that's the comment I kept hearing over and over was we loved last year, but this year took it to a new level, and the music and the pacing and just the variety of genres covered was people were impressed last year, but I think really we blew them away a little bit this year. So I thought it was awesome.
So from last year up until now, how did you feel as a member of the group, just kind of in general? Anyway.
I mean, it definitely just the feeling of I remember the day of the podcast that we filmed last year, or it wasn't even filmed then, it was just recorded. And the nerves of, okay, I don't really know these guys, but I'm in a band with them now. And, just kind of trying to get the feel of like where I fit in with the friendship kind of vibe of the nine of us. And now that is,
Just completely out
obviously,
the window.
yeah. I feel so much more comfortable. And I think within the group, what I heard this summer was so much more of, oh man, the vibes are good. We're hanging
Mhm.
out, we're all getting the vibe with each other, just feeling really good. So I feel much more comfortable around each of you guys. And I think that speaks to how welcoming that you guys have been. So
Sure.
I felt great this summer.
Good. And you arranged a song for the summer tour that I thought went over really well, was a big hit, right?
Yeah, Friends in Low Places, that was a lot of fun. And I kind of, at one point, I thought somebody else was going to arrange it. And then they didn't end up having that kind of on their docket. I was like, oh gosh. And I was talking to Freedom. And I was like, man, what do you think I should do? Should I get somebody else? Should I call in someone from outside the group? And he was like, dude, just you can do it. Like,
Hmm.
just do it. And so I got the demo together before Asia, and then kind of in Asia, I was playing it for Freedom, and I was like, okay, so maybe second verse, I go here, do whatever. And he was like, dude, this is so much easier than you're making it out to be. It's really, you just need a simple go ahead arrangement of this thing. And yeah, I mean, I've written before and sort of arranged for my own projects before, but this was getting to do it and writing out the notes and being like, okay, Mike's gonna sing this, Seggy's gonna sing this, and it was a lot of fun, dude. It was a
Good.
lot of fun,
So
and then to see it on stage.
I've said this so many times, but like when arranging a song, simplicity is always better because everyone's paying attention to the soloists. Like no one really cares what's happening in the back. Yeah, the super fans are all dialed into that stuff, but 99% of the audience just they don't care what's happening back there. Like a bass solo is that on steroids. Like literally, we could have been back there just yelling the F word and nobody would have cared at all because they've all hyper focused on you. Because when a bass steps out, it's so different, right? It's such a unique moment in the show and it's become like a thing, right? Nobody cares what the rest of us are doing on stage when you're out there crushing a solo as a bass. Like it's a spectacle, right? It's like a freak show, So people, so keep your arrangements simple. If like you're arranging for yourself as a bass,
Yeah,
as simple as humanly possible in the backs because it's not going to be heard over like any applause breaks that you're going to have when you like land on whatever your bottom note is. Literally, we don't even need to be on stage because the eruption of applause and screaming is going to drown out anything that we're doing. It's sort of like in the off mic when people start cheering right before that last section where we come back in on closing time. It's like half of us aren't even really singing anymore because I'm not going to compete with everyone cheering because it's going to be for nothing. No one's going to hear it. So yeah, simpler is always better.
I used to have this idea though about you singing solos,
Mm.
and it was more about you're the only bass. And when you're out there singing, which you absolutely should be doing, I was always a little concerned about who was going to sing bass in the group. And I kind of agree with Segi a little bit in that I'm not sure that it really matters,
Not at all.
but I don't know. Like, I'm okay with the fact that maybe I was wrong about that, but there's still a part of me that's you just don't get that full sound. But at the same time, I'm not in the audience. I'm not the one who we're doing this for. It's not going to be bad. It's just not going to be like low and how like a normal song would be, right?
But you also wouldn't want like another strong bass down there because then you've got two low
Because
voices
then you're
competing.
fighting, right?
So think back to when we did All About That Bass. You know what I mean? I would sing bass on that, and it was like you could barely hear it. Also, now, even on top of all this, with the addition of Freedom, like when he's doing his VP and he's got his low end dialed
Yeah,
in,
kick drum and
like
stuff. Yeah,
it
that
sounds like a bass, right? If you listen
totally.
to the music on the radio today, like a lot of the bass is just covered by the percussion, right? The
Hmm.
bass drum. So yeah, I don't think
Hmm.
it matters.
I
No
will
one
say though,
no one's listening to us.
Steve Morgan, I put him on bass. Ty put him on bass for the Johnny Cash medley, and I did the same thing with Friends in Low Places. And I listened to the isolated tracks off of his microphone from Yonin, our sound guy, and Steve was absolutely crushing that line.
Really
Like
great.
he had to sing, I think 2 songs later, he had to sing his solo "What's Up," which is all in his falsetto and super up there. And he was going down to like E flats in
Hmm.
Friends in Low Places, and it was perfectly in tune. I was impressed with Steve on that bass
Good.
part.
I think another thing that it highlights is everybody's willingness to
Mm,
be whatever puzzle piece we need to be for a show or a song. It's not
100%.
like I don't do this. It's just put me wherever I need to be to help the band, right?
Hmm.
And I think that's awesome. It's great to
Great.
have a group of guys in the band, all of us who are just like, I'll sing whatever needs to be sung, right? To whatever you think as the arranger is going to make this the best, that's fine. We'll do that. And I think that speaks to, I think it speaks to a lot of things. Like it would have been really easy for a bunch of egos to kind of get out of hand, 16 years in, but they haven't, you know what I mean? Like it's, it's refreshing. And it's, I listen to all these podcasts and all these bands are on as guests and they talk about why they broke up or how they broke up. And I'm just thinking, dude, we're 16 years into this and we live in very tight quarters on the road. And yeah, we have our differences and we, have arguments and whatever, but it's never gotten to a point where it's felt personal or like coming from a place of negativity. It's always, we all have the same goal of putting on the best show. We have different ideas on how to get there. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? There's 9 dudes, you can have different ideas. But I think it's just a testament to us, if I should be so humble,
No,
that
no, you're no, yeah.
that dude 16 years in and we're crushing and we're still boys and
I did want to ask you guys how you felt about Atlantic City. It was the last show of our tour and
I'm it.
Chasers who were coming out and stuff. And I know for us, it was interesting being there again. And but I was going to ask you, Luke, Bob, because I'm sure you've heard about our time in Atlantic City, and I just wanted to ask you how you felt about that experience.
It was interesting because I felt like the chasers who came to the VIP event knew more about some of the history and the old stuff. They knew more than I did.
Sure.
And I mean, it was cool as well backstage. There's always pictures backstage in any venue of bands that have been there. Usually it's like a really famous person or whatever. And backstage at Harrah's Casino and Resort, there's pictures of the band, 15 years
Mm.
ago. And so it was cool to see all you guys circa 15 years ago. And, I think that was long hair Mike days, maybe.
Oh, yeah.
I've not known a long hair Mike yet.
There was a lot of confusion going on in those days. In a lot of
But
ways, I'll say that.
it was cool as well. I mean, there were some people backstage, some helpers for the venue
Suki.
that remembered you guys. Yeah. And I think Suki, this person, even had an old relic from back then.
I call it a relic, dude. You could just say it was a folder.
I mean, she is old.
No, he meant we were old because it was from our time there. Called it a relic. Get out of here, bro. It was a folder of music and staging and
An
all that
ancient
stuff.
tome.
Yeah, it was unearthed.
I can't believe she still had that
They
thing.
found it next to a T-Rex jaw.
Yeah. Oh man. No, it's good. Those were good days, man. Almost like a launching pad, like
Hmm.
our first. Because after we left Atlantic City, there wasn't a lot of turnover in the group until a couple years later.
Hmm.
So we were able to kind of build our sound, not our sound, but like our, relationships with each other. But it was interesting to be back there for sure.
Yeah, I wonder what it was like for you guys being
Mhm.
back for the first time in a while, and especially with, I mean, it's what, 3 of 9 are different
Yeah.
members, and I
Yeah.
think you were even maybe 10 back.
Mm.
So what was it like to be
I-
back with a new group?
We've done more shows there than we have really anywhere else. And
100%.
I don't have any I didn't have a bad experience at all. It was just so many good things about it and so many good memories and like seeing everybody backstage and stuff. I had a great time and I would love to go back there I mean, I don't know about 3 months at a time like we did, but if it was offered, I would certainly consider it. But yeah, I just like the idea of sitting in one spot. Like we have a show that we learned and we do that show every night. I like to do different things every night as well, but also there is like sort of something in the whole, okay, you learn a show and then you do that show every night and you have a routine and stuff.
We do the same
And-
thing on tour. I mean, we tour the same show.
Yeah.
We change
Yeah,
up a
true.
couple songs here and there, but for the most part, it's the same.
I mean, it was like a specific show, right? Like
Yeah.
a specific, like a decade show or what was the second year?
The Decades was the second year. The first year
What was the first year? Obviously, seeing all the chasers and stuff is always a great time. So yeah,
It was awesome. I think
What do you think? Yeah.
to touch on what you said, Luke Bob, how was it being back there with a new band almost? I'll say this. I think we sounded better than we ever have in Atlantic City.
I would agree.
It was great. The show was awesome. The crowd was fire. I think my favorite thing of the whole weekend there was a couple of things. We went and saw Naked Gun the day before the show, which was awesome because we saw it in theaters. But doing the live pod was so cool. I've seen a bunch of live pods. I've been to live pods. I listened to live pods. And to do our own was so fun. I think the people there had a great time. And we have the video and audio of that, and we'll get that posted at some point.
Mhm.
But it was a perk, right? It was a perk for the VIP package. So I want to make sure that value is felt. But we've talked about maybe peppering in a couple on the road somewhere, maybe in places where there's like high concentration of chasers, right? But man, it was so fun to do it in front of an audience. It was different, but it was great because you have the perspective as the listener, right? And like when you're listening at home, you're like, oh man, I wish I could have reacted live to this or asked this or done this. And to be on the other side of that and giving the fans that opportunity was really cool. So I
Yeah.
had an amazing time. I hope people felt like it was fun and worth it. And I hope they want to do it again because I hope we do more of those.
Yeah. So the other thing that was happening in Atlantic City and also all the way through the tour, as you guys know, if you're listeners, if you have seen our shows or whatever, is that we were recording a new album on the road all summer. And I know for me, I was doing some last minute stuff in Atlantic City with Rome, maybe with you, Luke Bob. Did we do something there or not? I'm not sure. Oh,
We
right.
did.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it was interesting to kind of have that on my mind, but then also, the last show of the tour, and we're back in AC and all that stuff. So I feel like if we didn't have all of the recording stuff happening, I could have, kind of relaxed a little bit more, enjoyed it a little bit more. But I did want to get into that though. So that was the last show of the tour. That was August 9th or 10th or something like that. And then once we got home, I think we had 2 weeks to wrap up the album. And I just have to say, I feel like when we set out on the road and we're like, okay, we're gonna do this, we're like, yeah, great. And then halfway through the tour, there is a lot to do. But I did just want to talk about that whole experience for all of us. We had like extra 2 weeks at home, which actually was also a lot of work as well. So once we got home, it was tying up loose ends, getting songs done. But I wanted to ask you guys how you felt about that whole thing and how you felt the album and how you felt about recording on the road every day and how that's a little different from how we've done it in the past.
I loved it. I thought it's okay. 2 points. I think it made the summer tour fly by, right? Because
Totally.
usually we have like hours and hours of downtime. And I always prefer to record remotely or on the road or whatever, because the less time we take away from our home lives, the better. But also, like, we're all together and we do have this extra time. It just makes sense to utilize it. It'll be interesting to see in the fall. We're not going to have all of this work to do, but
Right.
you bet your ASS that Freedom and I are going to be like, hey, we're doing this content on this
All
day.
the
Like,
yeah.
because we're starting to see growth there. But this summer I loved recording every day. It was a good way to warm up a little earlier, get everything moving a little
Yes.
earlier.
Yes.
I do miss the looseness and the more relaxed vibe on tour, because you don't have to make sure you're like ready to go at 11
Mhm.
or whatever, like
Mhm.
vocally at 11. But I thought it was great. I think everything sounds amazing. It all sounds as good or better than anything else we've ever recorded. So I think
Yeah.
it was a huge win. And I think we proved to ourselves that, we set a goal, even as insane as it sounded on the onset, we can crush it. You know what I mean? Again, we all have the same goal. And once we're all in that same mindset, we're unstoppable, man.
Agreed.
Yeah, I mean, I think talking about the album, got a shout out you, Mike, Ty, Steve, Jasper, Walter, and Freedom did a lot of work on this album and a lot of kind of thankless editing work and doing percussion for each track and producing for other people.
Mhm.
But the highlight for me, I've gotten to record with Freedom on the road before for the 90s EP that we did last year. And he and I worked together, I think, really well. And so I knew going into that, even though I'd only been in the group for a short amount of time, that was going to go well. And there was a trust there. But I will say, getting Mike to work with you in a studio setting, even though we were in dressing rooms or hotel rooms or whatever, that was a really big highlight of the tour for me, because I feel like we were able to develop a kind of looseness and creativity in that space where it was like, okay, the bass line that the player on the track did is this, and maybe this is the idea I had just in general, but in this moment in the room, based on what we have and the low notes that you might have today, what do we think is the
Mhm.
thing that's going to work for the track? What would sound cool? And getting to have somebody almost play my voice as an instrument, which is, I think, what you were nearing,
Yes.
that was a really cool new experience for me because I haven't, if I'm alone in this room recording something, I only have myself and I only have the sheet music on the page or the recorded track in my session to go off of. And you got me to places that I wouldn't have gotten by myself. And I think that was a highlight
Sure.
for me.
I
Yeah.
I liked how easy it was to give you something, and it wasn't like you had to have it exactly like or all the notes written out and stuff. You were kind of willing to be like, okay, so let's do whatever. Let's see what works. And I like to work like that. And I feel like you're the same way, Segi. You're like, okay, cool. Sing this, sing that. Because after we got home, I still had to finish a song or two. And while I was on the road, I was like, man, I wish we could do this all from home so I could just give guys the parts and they could sing whatever. And then once I got home, I was like, man, I wish I was back on the road, you know? So we're in the same room so we could sing. Like, if a part wasn't sung the right way or a vowel was different, I didn't have to write an email and be like, okay, sing this way or whatever. But I think for me, like, it was kind of more that stuff. It was like, yes, it was a lot of work every day, kind of loading into backstages that were different. You know, things weren't always, it's not the same every day. So the rooms are different. And how the microphone is going to sound in that room is different. I know you shouted us out, but it was a team effort. I mean, everybody was bought in, and it just kind of felt like something different was happening. And I hope y'all hear that once the album is out.
You know, in the studio, you can be very liberal with parts, right? You
Mhm.
can have 30 parts on a song. Obviously, live, you can't do that. So you got to pare it down a little bit. But, you know, it's a different experience. If someone's listening to an album, you know, I don't necessarily think they want to hear it. I don't know. Maybe they do want to hear it the same way, but I think as long as the structure and, you know, the core of the song is the same, it's not going to make a difference. You know what I mean? If
Mhm.
there's, you know, a few things different of the arrangement live and on the record, because that's always been the case for us. You know,
Yeah.
a lot of our arrangements have way too many parts on the records that we could ever do live. So
Yeah,
unless
but
we
that's what it's
start,
for, though, right? Like
yeah,
it,
of course,
like it's a different thing, like you just said. Like it's
that's when you
different,
don't want to be simple. That's when you want to show out a little
right?
bit and be like, look what we can do. You know what I
Hmm.
mean?
I will say though, I hope one day in the future, Luke Bob, that you can experience recording an album in the same room in the real studio. Because we used to do that a lot. But there is kind of something I miss about, you know, all of us going to Bloomington or all of us going to New York or all of us going to LA, Chicago, and sitting in a city for 2 weeks or whatever and just kind of, you know, going because there is something organic about that. You would love that, Bob.
He
I feel
would.
like
Luke Bob's young, but he's an old soul.
you would love like all of us going up to airtime and like sitting out there in the woods and just vibing together and figuring out parts and then we go in there and we sing it as a group. Like I miss that. I don't know.
I would love that so much. I was telling Freedom when we were on the road, I was like, I love this process because there's a freedom about doing it,
Sure.
just day after day and not having the pressure of, okay, we got 8 hours in the studio today and we paid for it and we have the engineer, and all that.
Yeah, independence, right? Like
Yeah.
independent of all the yeah.
But I feel like being in a studio and having that just infrastructure around you and I just have the image of all the wood and the sound booth, all
Sure.
that. I love being in a studio.
I guess we did have that opportunity when we went to Manila.
We did.
Um
Yeah, kind
uh
of.
we
Mostly sat in the waiting room
we
in the
will
lobby.
yeah, I'm sure there'll be more news on that later, but we did have the opportunity to record in Manila, which was awesome. And that song will be on the album, and we're looking forward to you guys hearing that. That was super cool, but I feel like that's kind of the closest that we've gotten to, you know, this whole idea
Because you joined right
in a
after
while.
Yacht on the Rocks, right?
Yeah, which
Oh yeah,
so
we
you-
did that.
I
Yeah.
hear about
just
Yacht
missed
on
it.
the Rocks and that process, and I mean, I love that album. I think is just so cool.
But I think for an album like that, I think it was smart that we did it like that because it was a concept record. It was everything had to kind of sound the same, kind of feel the same, even though there was a bunch of different mix engineers on that, maybe 3 or 4. But a lot of this can be solved with a mix engineer. Like you can make everything sound
Cohesive.
like it's yeah,
Mm.
and, right, like the tech, like you were saying, Zaggy.
Yeah.
y-
What those
It's a
guys do
benefit.
is every bit of an art as what we do on the
Totally.
other side of the mic. You know what I mean? Like
Mm.
it's wild how they can shape and change a song. You know what I mean? It's incredible. And we're very fortunate that we have a stable of mixers who are all killers, man. They're so good at what they do, like true artists, right?
Yeah, and they're
it's
also
like,
good at mixing too. Like it's
yes,
great.
they are killers. Dang it, I outed them. Netflix will be pulling up that series soon. But yeah, the album's done. And
Yeah.
you know what's funny about this group after a tour? Like after a tour, there's 2 weeks where it's kind of like radio silence from everybody. And this radio silence didn't start until after the album was done because we were still, like Mike said, tying up loose ends.
Yeah.
I sent a message out to everybody. I was like, hey, everybody, send me like a 3 to 5
Oh, I need
second
to, I
video.
need to get that too. I still have it.
I need to
I
do
said,
that.
send me a 3 to 5 second video of just saying something along the lines of, it's done. That's a wrap. We're done. Killed it, whatever. And I got 2 videos, one from Steve, because of course,
Obviously.
and one from Jerome, which I can't even use because I'm
I
pretty
can't
sure
believe-
he filmed it on like a camera from 1971. It's like the grainiest, fuzziest video. I was like, what am I going to do with this? So yeah, because I wanted to put together like just a quick 30-second video of us saying the album's wrapped, like we're done.
And you still can. And I'll
I
do
still
it, like,
can.
I'll
do it
send
right
I'll
after-
send mine
right
to
after
you
this.
right
Yeah,
after this.
right
Yeah.
after
And
yeah.
for those of you watching and listening, neither of them will send it to me.
I will.
I will film everybody in Vegas or LA this weekend doing it because no one's going to send it. But it's funny because,
Amazing.
and then, even yesterday I was like, hey, who is not on a red eye? Because Sean was messaging me about hotels and what we needed and everything. I was, no, only Freedom responded, and he's not even flying anywhere because he lives in LA.
Well, hold on. Like you asked who is not. So if you are, then you shouldn't have expected a response, correct?
True. Yes. I guess that is, yeah. Yes.
So-
that's valid.
I follow the directions.
That
True.
was
I
my
listen.
thinking as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh,
I don't want to
um,
clog up. Yeah.
I'm just conditioned to everyone responding anyway.
No,
but
you
Mike,
had something the other
Mike-
day about that too, but I forget exactly.
Oh,
what it
everyone
was.
else was thumbs upping it.
Oh.
Yeah, they're sending emojis, and you're like, I follow instructions.
I-
You text me. So-
I think that
But
was right before
you're right.
Hershey, Yeah.
I didn't even think about it the other way because I'm
Yeah.
so conditioned to everyone just responding anyway. But
Yeah.
you are 100% right. I am very wrong. So
But-
I guess we're all on
Fredo
red
wrote
eyes.
back about something else. It was about Nashville, and you're like, I'm talking about LA, man.
Yeah, this Sunday. This Sunday. But
Oh,
yeah,
that's
so
great.
dude, summer was great. Album's done.
Great.
It's great.
Yeah.
What's next? What are we doing next? Are we going on tour again this year?
We've got a couple more shows on the summer tour, one in Las Vegas and one in Cerritos. You might have seen that we were going to be at the Greek Theater on September 5th, but that show had to get moved. We were able to reschedule a show of our own that night. So we will get to live out the 90s show for 2 more shows for this year. And then we have an opportunity to do a show here in Nashville, not open to the public, sorry. But yeah, so it'll be nice to have all of the guys here in town, and that's in a couple weeks. And then yeah, we're heading out on the holiday road here in October.
I think we have to do a K-pop Demon Hunters medley.
I don't get the K-pop Demon Hunters thing, man.
What is this?
You don't know about this? You know the
huge.
songs. You know the songs. You definitely know Golden. It's like the number one song.
I know the
in
songs. Why
Did you
is
watch
this-
the movie?
In the background, I've seen.
I've not.
you
My
know,
kids watch it. I've not seen the movie, but I love
Okay.
the songs. They're very catchy pop songs. They're awesome.
Imagine once they go on tour, the thing is gonna just.
It's on tour, isn't it? Isn't it
I don't
touring
think
with
yet. I don't think-
Descendants?
I'm going to see that show tonight. Actually, Okay, so Descendants and Zombies.
Oh, Zombies. That was the
So
other
we're
one.
going tonight, and that's gonna be
Nice.
fun. But yeah, I was like, man, once that thing goes on tour, it's gonna be like Taylor Swift, man.
It's gonna make so much money. Yeah.
Crazy.
Is it
Eden-
like big with kids right now, or
Yeah.
what's the?
I think-
Okay, that's
I think
It's
probably
big with
why I
everybody,
don't.
but kids primarily.
Everybody.
But it's on Netflix. But you know the music. You've heard Soda Pop, and you've heard Golden
I-
is literally on every TikTok. It's 24/7 Golden. We're going up.
Anyway.
You got me feeling me golden.
I wonder if that should be something that we do on the fall tour, like a medley of the K-pop Demon Hunters.
Yes,
thing.
that's what I'm saying. We need
Yeah?
to. I think I'm going to work on that in the plane. I'm flying
Okay.
to Vegas tonight.
Nice.
How wild is this? So
Okay.
my flight to Vegas and home from LA was going to be like $900 going Thursday through Sunday red eye.
Sunday night, yeah.
Leaving the night before, I leave at 9:30. I get to Vegas at 11. So I'm not really missing any time with the kids because I'm leaving basically at bedtime.
Mhm.
It was like $450 cheaper. Crazy
Yeah.
cheaper. So even like baking in the cost of another hotel room, it was
That's
still
wild.
several $100s cheaper. Anyway, yeah, I'll work on that tonight on the plane. I'll
That'd be
chop
fun.
something together.
It'll be fun.
Uh,
Yeah, man, it's a thing.
it's a thing.
It is a thing, and yeah. But anyway, but yeah, I'm gonna go see that show, or I'm gonna go to the Zombies Descendant show tonight.
Is it at the arena?
Yeah. And
I
I'm
didn't
looking
even know
forward
that
to
was
it. I'm looking forward
touring,
to it.
and Mila is obsessed with Descendants.
Yeah, so is
Like,
Ivy. Yeah. So is Ivy.
And
Yeah.
Jamie sent me a text. It was like a screenshot of someone we know that was at the show in Detroit. It was at Little Caesars Arena. She was like, "Oh my God, I didn't even know this was a thing. I feel like a terrible parent." And I was like, "Oh my God." We did Kids Bop
But
2
anyway,
weeks
that'll
ago.
be a good time.
We went to Kids Bop 2 weeks ago in Grand Rapids at the DeVos where we
Oh,
played.
nice. How was that?
It was cool. It was cool. It was just 4 kids crushing the whole show. I mean, and
Really?
they dance, dude.
Like
Just 4 kids.
singers, actors.
my
Wow.
gosh.
Just 4 of them, and like
Good.
their dads, and their dads aren't really. One of their dads like the MC, and he sets the tone. He's like, "Come on, make some noise." It was a rescheduled date, so it was like kind of empty.
Yeah.
So I think like when they rescheduled it, not a lot of people could go, but it was cool. It's been good. Kids are back in school. We had Yes Day this past Monday, so that was fun.
It's been a while since I've seen a show, you know?
Yeah,
And even though I don't know a lot of the music, I'm just looking forward to sitting in the audience and just kind of looking around and seeing how the thing goes. Because it's a big tour. Like, they're all over the place right now. So,
yeah. I mean, they're playing arenas.
Yeah.
And it's selling out arenas,
yeah,
which is
right,
insane. We
right.
don't do
So,
that.
I know.
Is this also Micah like kind of kids oriented?
This is for sure kids.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's,
Yeah.
Descendants is actually a cool premise. It's the kids of the villains.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a cool premise.
Cool. Nice. Hey.
Hey,
I'll be sure to take some notes, and the pod next week I can
but guys, we just have to
I
increase our
give you a
production
review.
budget by $20 million a week. We need to
Only
have
that and like
personal
hire a bunch of
screens
great
for
song.
everybody in the audience.
Yeah.
Well, we do hire great songwriters.
True.
We cover all the best songwriters of all time.
I think now would be a good time to take a break and hear a word from this episode's unofficial, official sponsor. We don't always have one. We may not have one this week, but I think we do. So we will hear a word from them, and we'll be right back and get to a couple questions from the mailbag. We'll see you in a minute.
Welcome back to the Unofficial Official Podcast. This week's episode is a timely one because what's going on this week? The NFL is back. What else is going on? College football is back. Baseball is heading into the postseason soon. What does that mean for you? That means you can make a little cash because this week's sponsor is DraftKings. DraftKings, if it's legal in your state, sign up, bet on your favorite teams. Mike can tell you what teams to bet on. He's pretty knowledgeable in all these things. Be responsible. Don't bet more than you have. I like to bet $5 on a game. Just makes it a little more fun and a little more interesting. Usually before the season, I'll throw $50 into the account, throw a couple bucks on each game, call it a day at the end of the season. Whatever winnings I have left, I'll just roll into the Super Bowl. And I love to bet on the stupid prop bets like the length of the national anthem, what color will the Gatorade they dump on the coach be, stuff like that. But if you like sports and you like betting, no better place than DraftKings. Bet responsibly.
All right. Thank you for that word from DraftKings. Okay, we're going to go to a couple questions from the mailbag. I'm assuming we have some in there. I know that we do because we've been off for a couple weeks.
We
So
do.
why don't we hit one or two of those and then we'll wrap up.
Sure. So I've got a question here from Paul. So his last name could be pronounced probably two ways. Ryman or Riemann. Reiman. Riemann. Probably Riemann, right? Like Neiman Marcus, Riemann.
Mhm.
Paul Riemann
Mhm.
from Elmhurst, Illinois. My college roommate is also from Elmhurst. What up, Frank? Anyway, he's got a couple of questions, and they both kind of center around a specific show that he was at this summer. He noticed when we were in Hammond, Illinois, at the casino.
Indiana,
Sorry, Hammond, Indiana, in the region.
which is right by Illinois.
Yeah. His question centers basically about it being a low attended show. He was wondering how much time does the band or the team spend diagnosing the attendance, how that affects future performances, and how do guys feel performing for a lighter crowd versus a full crowd? Because he is also a musician. And he said, it's from my own experience, it's personally harder to perform in front of a light crowd, given a big difference in crowd energy.
I'll
While
just
I
say this
played
right
with
away.
some
Oh, sorry.
who enjoyed it more because they felt less pressure.
I'll say this. I don't ever look at ticket counts. I don't want to see it because if I know that it's only halfway sold or whatever, that's going to get in my head and I'm going to be like, nobody likes us, blah, 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 like all that stuff. I don't want any of that. But yeah, that's the short answer. I know. But if you guys want to expand on that,
How about you, LB?
Yeah, I mean, I also don't like to go walk on stage with a preconception about how many people are there, or because it invariably, whether I like it or not, it kind of will affect, at the very least, it'll affect like the first notes that I'm singing. And usually I can settle in either way if it's super well attended or not. But I think either way it goes, I try and focus on just like knowing that there's one person out in the audience who is really digging what we're doing. And if I can just keep that one person who has a positive view of what we're doing, kind of no matter what, then I'm going to be fine. You know, whether it's like Interlochen that we did this summer, that was a huge venue, and it was kind of dark enough in the back that it looked like it was entirely sold out. And, you know, I don't know how many people fit in that venue, 2,500, 3,000, whatever it is. But that for me is a little, whoa, there's a lot of people. This is a little bit intimidating, especially like walking up for my solo and the very long click entrance that we have for that.
It's still going. I'm still waiting for the entrance.
But even in that situation too, when it's super well attended, I also have to think about that one person. And I think no matter what the count is, you know, I'm always thinking about there's one person here who this is really important to, and they were really looking forward to this. And I'm doing this for that audience member.
you know,
It's easy to be like, oh, no one showed up. Man, forget this city.
Sure.
When it's kind of should be the opposite, right? Because it's like, all right, these are the people that do care. Let's go ahead and crush it for them so that they go home and they say, oh my goodness, I can't believe so many people missed out. We got to make sure we fill the room next time and tell more people. There is a little bit of a looseness when we have lighter shows, which I think makes the show better. So I wish we would just carry that into all the shows where it's, you know, if it is a full house, I do think there are a lot of guys who are like, oh, let's make sure we're, you know, like super, you know what I mean? When it's, no, man, they're here to have a good time and see us have a good time. Let's just loosen up. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
when Sinatra and the Rat Pack took the stage, they weren't like, let's make sure we're all buttoned up all the time and not screwing around or whatever. It's no, let's have fun, and they will have fun with us as a result. And to touch
I will
on
say one
why
last-
it was
yeah, go
why
ahead,
it
go
was
ahead.
low, I think primarily like anytime we get to a venue and it's 21 and over, I think that hurts us a lot because we are a family show and, you know, the majority of our audience is made up of families. So I think that was like the big killer. We've got one of those on the fall this year, and it's, you know, it is what it is. But, you know, if it was up to us, it would not be 21 and over. So thanks for that question, Paul. Thanks
Yeah,
for pointing
absolutely.
out
That's a
that
good
no
one.
one likes us in Hammond, Illinois. Just teasing. Some people like us. Okay, anyway, Brooke Brown asks
Oh yeah.
about who the arrangers are for the summer tour. She said, let me pull up her email. I'd love to hear more about who has arranged the songs in your summer set list. It's always fun to think about the style and sound and link with who has arranged the songs you do. That info comes with the CDs, but it'd be fun to hear that for the summer set list. And she's going to see us in November in Austin at Austin City Limits. It's a cool venue.
Do you want to go through
Yeah, I've got
the
the
set
set list
list?
up.
Yeah, go for it.
Luke Bob, you did Friends in Low Places, obviously.
Yep.
Runaround was Tyler. No Diggity was Freedom. Kiss from a Rose was Walt. What's Up was Steve. Are You That Somebody was Walt. 90s TV was Walt. Broken Glass was Tyler. I Can Love You That was Tyler. Always Be My Baby was me. Wanna Be Mike. Nothing Else Matters was me. Life is a Highway was Freedom. Hip Hop Medley was Freedom. And Women's Medley was Tyler. And Closing Time was also Tyler.
And about 7 or 8 of those were new. I feel like maybe half were bringbacks from the summer before, or just other songs like "Kiss from a Rose" was a song that we did in the fall, but it also
Yeah,
worked
years
for the
ago.
'90s. So there were some of those that we brought back.
So yeah, that's it for the mailbag. We have some more, but we'll save them for Rich has 40 emails in, so I gotta
Can I have
finish reading.
I have one last question for you two, and it's partially just because I want to mention one thing on the podcast now that I have the opportunity. I was at an event 2 weeks ago, an event that I frequent. I was at a Magic the Gathering draft in New York City, and there was a young kid there, 18 years old, studying vibraphone at the Berklee College of Music, and they were off for the summer. And I was wearing my Java Jazz Festival shirt, and they kind of caught on to the fact that I'm a musician. And as we were playing the game, we were talking, and I mentioned that I tour and all this. And they asked what I thought was a really well thought out question for an 18-year-old. And that was, as a pro musician, what advice would you give me that you don't think I'm going to hear in school, even at Berklee College of Music? And I kind of said a few things, and then as I talked my way into what I thought was an answer I've definitely learned from you guys, and that is be fun to be around and be a good hang. That's one of the most important things I think that I've found in being successful as a
Mm.
pro musician is just be fun to be around, be a good hang, be somebody that's nice to work with, easy to work with, and
So
just be.
you've heard that before?
That
Interesting. You should put
that's
it
a
into
huge
practice.
one. That is a that
Oh
is
yeah,
a
dude. That's
that's a
massive.
yeah. I
If
would say no. Go ahead, Seg.
I
Go
was
ahead.
gonna say, if this guy right here is the greatest vibraphone player on the planet, but it sucks to hang out with, and then this guy is like pretty good at vibraphone, but is like the coolest guy, this guy's getting hired. You know what I mean? Yeah, this guy's great and all, but nobody has time for a-holes. Be cool. Go ahead, Mike.
I would also say you don't have to follow the rules. I mean, obviously, on your way up, you're kind of learning all of the theory, but once you have that knowledge, you don't have to stay in that lane. I feel like you can color outside the lines, get out and experiment a bit, and that's okay to do that.
I got two things. One, don't be afraid to play for free.
Oh,
Mm.
yeah.
Playing for free is not a bad thing. And two, learn the business side of music. It's very important. I think a lot of bands crash out, a lot of performers crash out, go bankrupt, whatever, because they don't understand the business side of music. It's not hard. Information's out there. Learn it.
It's not hard, but it's like the last thing that you want to, because you're like, okay, like I'm a musician, like I only want to think about this. It's yeah, that'd be great, but
Nobody's
is
going to care about
a-
your money
a
more than you.
livelihood.
Nobody's going to care about your money more than you care about
More than
your
you.
money. Just like how
Mhm.
nobody's going to care about your music more than you care about your music.
Mm.
Both of those things need to work together, because if the money piece is gone, then you're not going to be able to perform your music. So it's important. And I think the younger generation is understanding it more and more, just with, access to information. But
Yeah.
those would be my two things to add to the other very important things that you guys
Nice.
have noted.
Nice.
That's a
Thanks,
good way to
guys.
end that, Luke Bob. Thanks for that question. All right, guys. I was going to ask if there's anything left to say, but I think we said it all. We can wrap it here. But I'll let you guys have the last word.
Follow us on all the socials. Tell all your friends about our tour. We'll see you this fall.
Thank you guys so much for letting me be your first guest host. I'm so
Absolutely.
excited to have been back on the podcast, and I appreciate you guys. SNCmusic.com/tour at SNC on all social media platforms. We'll see you out this fall.
All right,
See
guys.
ya.
That's going to do it for episode number 35. We will see you next week. Thanks for listening.